is the Diary of a Lady Band Director podcast, brought to you by the Passion Is Network.
Hey sis, I swear you the only person I know that probably works more than me. I think you got me beat.
I mean, we do what we can. Out here in these streets.
All these streets making money, doing the good work.
all about a bag, okay? We not making moves without a bag, okay?
Woo, well, this has been the longest year. This week.
Not the longest year. Wait a minute, we only on day 20. Wait.
You're a little breaking up. It might be, you might need to turn yourself down a little bit. That's my guess.
Okay.
Nice. Let's see. Ooh. Listen, Jay, this music is kind of dope.
Yeah, I was bopping. I was like, I don't want to talk. I want to listen to it. But I am down the street from my school. Luckily, I live pretty close to my school. So I was just going to go there and broadcast from there. Because if I go home, my dog is going to be like, I need to go out. And he's not going to stop messing with me. So I figured.
I got a question. Are you in your car or you got earbuds on?
I'm in my car, but I will be where I can get to my earbuds in like 3 minutes.
Yeah, you're crackling like popcorn. It might be because you're in your car, but I don't know.
Okay.
So, one, thank you because you first of all, thank you for agreeing to come on my show. And I've been trying to catch up with you because catching up with you is probably like catching up with me, which is why this is like, it's kind of like a perfect
on Facebook at 3:00 in the morning. Yeah,
it's a perfect storm because we are like equally busy. One, I'm gonna shout you out a little bit. One, I wanted you to be on the show because I said, I hate this narrative like there's only one. When you're the minority in something, people latch on to like a name, a person, and then like that's all you see. And I really don't like that. That's part of why I started this podcast. When Julian J, the man behind the scenes, thank you. He's been under the weather, but he's the one rolling this whole bus forward. I'm just the person talking, but there's a whole lot of people who put a lot of stuff together for this to happen. And when he asked me, you want a podcast? I was like, yeah, but I kind of want to be able to have my sisters on this podcast. And he's like, okay, whatever. And so it's really because I was tired of like this kind of narrative, like there will only be one. In Hollywood, they kind of had this narrative with Black people, like you'll see like this one comedian, and that's the only comedian that exists. There's only one Black actress, and that's the one that they use for everything. you know, like we are just like, I don't know, nobody else is talented, nobody else knows how to do anything. And so I'm really happy to have you on the podcast because it's what it was intended for. It was intended to have people who look like me, who are doing things that are great, super awesome, super dope in their world, in their corner of the world. And I wanted to shine a light on them, you know, and not necessarily be like, okay, this is my show and this is what we're gonna do. You know, because people paint that picture of Black women, especially like we're monoliths and we can't sit in a room together, we can't work together, we can't share ideas, we can't disagree without being catty or cordial. I'm just gonna say, on the internet, I see more people who don't look like us being kind of that narrative than sometimes us. And you know, the unfortunate thing is all it takes is one, and then everybody think we all like that. But you know, that's the life of a marginalized person in a marginalized community. So I'm gonna read some of your bio because your bio is like, one is super dope. It's super dope, but you've done so much stuff. Like you do a lot of stuff, and I was just like, I gotta please send me your bio, and then you sent me a long one and a short one, and I was like, the long one looks like my regular one, so your short bio looked like my long bio, and I was like, okay, I gotta kind of make sure I hit all the targets. So those of you who are listening, I see Edwin in the chat. I see some more people kind of joining us. This is usually a 6:30 show, but Dr. Chantae Pittman is so dope. She is literally leaving honor choir auditions for your district.
All state second round auditions.
Second round. And it's crazy because that's literally what I do up here. So I understand. And I was like, nah, I'm gonna make it work with your schedule. So Dr. Chantae Pittman, newly doctor. I'm gonna say doctor as much as possible because I can't do it yet. I just can't get myself to do it. Is the choral activities director at Campbell High School in Smyrna, Georgia. You're in Cobb County, right?
Yep, I am.
All right. You're also an adjunct professor at Georgia College and State University, right? I just want to make sure I'm getting these right. You're also a proud graduate of Tennessee State University, where you got your bachelor's degree in music education. So she went to school for this, because everybody ain't going to school for this that's got the degrees. Everybody ain't going to school for this. Right. See, Dr. Simon in here. Like, listen, you got a fan club. I'm a fan. I'm just going to say it. Let me keep reading. You got a master's degree in music education from Vandercook College University. You also, that's the one we're going to shout about. You graduated from the University of Georgia, where you completed your doctorate in education with the emphasis in choral music education. So you certified in this to the maximum level. And you've done 13 years teaching everywhere from elementary to high school. You served as a choral clinician, music education consultant, you're an instructor, you're a grant writer, you're an adjudicator, obviously, because that's where you're coming from. And you also sing with the Atlantic Symphony Orchestra Chorus and the Atlanta's Women's Chorus since 2020, from what I understand, in your short bio. Let me tell y'all, this is a short bio. How the hell this is a short bio? And let me tell you, I actually paraphrased the short bio. You are a member of the Georgia Music Education Association, GMEA. You are a part of NAFME, National Association of Music Education, American Choral Directors Association, National Educators Association, Georgia Association of Educators, and one of my favorite things to say, Sigma Alpha Iota, International Music Fraternity for Women. Yes, my sis. and you are a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated and a member of Tau Beta Sigma National Honorary Band Sorority Incorporated. Are you done pledging? She said yes. We're going to take bad to the bone. Dr. Simon said, and she's a Zeta. You got a shout out. If you're joining us, I'm starting to see some people kind of trickle in. Please listen, y'all. I have to tell y'all got to hit the likes. You got to hit the likes. Don't just be sitting there in the chat sucking up all this goodness and you ain't hitting the likes. You got to hit the likes. And Edwin Moore is there. So let's hit the likes. Hit the share button. Put this on your social media. Blast it. Tell people go and get in here. They ain't doing nothing but eating some stuff they don't need to eat like I did tonight. So looks like you made it to your building. She put her glasses on. Wipe the screen. Wipe the screen, sis. Wipe the screen. And, I'm telling you, I'm a fan. I'm going to have to get myself together. Got some questions. This is going to be our organic conversation. And, just to be honest, if you're in the chat and you want to ask Dr. Pittman some questions as we go along, please put some questions in there. If you want to ask her something, we're going to put that link in the chat so you can mic up, talk to the infamous Dr. Chantae Pittman. I need a little reaction to it, but I don't have the reaction to Jay on this Melon app. I don't have the little woos and things. I can't even do that. So one, I'm gonna start with the script that give you a little bit of time. I think your mic on. Can you hear me? Unmute and see if you can talk. You can keep yourself unmuted. You ain't bothering me. Not quite yet. All right. So that gives me some time to do my script. Jay, I don't have the voice like you. Welcome to Diary of a Lady Band Director, the only all-woman podcast on the air that talks about everything band and music education related, all from the view from a Black woman. Woohoo! As usual, we love sharing the stage with our dedicated viewers. So to gain insight and encourage dialogue throughout. So if you want to share insight, mic up using a link that will be pinned in the chat. To our viewers, please again hit that like button. If someone comes in, y'all in the chat be like, hey, I see you just came in. Hit that like. And of course, join us for other shows through the Passion Is Network, such as Secondary Sessions, The Feature with Maya and Portia for President, Talk That Talk, which happens on Wednesdays, and of course, Diary of a Lady Band Director, which happens on Fridays, typically 6:30, but we're gonna make a special case for Dr. Pittman. One, it's a lot of crap been on social media, so I felt like it's better to start a show. Like I know I went live and I saw some names that I normally don't see on my lives, and I was like, these are people just trying to see if I'm gonna be messy. And you know what? Nah, never gonna happen. Not messing up my bag. Social media is connected to your jobs now. And some of my jobs are social media. So you can't be up there just losing, just popping off on people. You just can't do it. I never do it. Let's see. Are you unmuted? I wish I had my keyboard over here. I'll be playing some music. Let's see if we got the technical difficulties. It be happening to me too. I feel like the spirit of Quan's Wi-Fi, Quan's audio be hitting us. Well, one, she gonna come in, come back. All right, so I think you just came back. You just come back. Check your mic. Okay, she left and came back. All right, I'm just gonna sit here and talk about it. So some things I've learned about social media, or what I'm learning. One, I'm gonna learn how to not respond to everybody. But sometimes I feel like you do have to, because we kind of have a bully culture in social media sometimes. People know what type of job you got. They know your job is a little different than their job. Your presence has to be a little different. And then they want you to respond the way that they might be able to respond, because their job ain't quite that far up the ladder that they won't get in trouble. Let me tell you about that Prince George's County Public Schools, Daddy. You can't just be saying whatever you want. Not at all. You can't post kids. You can't post bands. You can't post your classroom all over the place, which is a lot different than what it was for me when I was in Prince George's County schools. When I was in Baltimore City. I'm in Prince George's County schools. Baltimore City, I hate to say it, you can like go live your entire class. Because I'm not saying they don't care. It's just the rules are a lot different. I was just saying in PG County schools. Like, if people don't know some things, Prince George's County is the longest running affluent Black county in America. Like, I'm from there. And you just can't be out there like that. They'll fire you for anything. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. They just got a standard, and you can't just be popping off. So, sometimes like when I was in Baltimore City, I could like post my classroom and post things I was doing. I think I did like one video, and I came to work the next day. It was like, yeah, we don't really do that here. I was like, okay. I like a paycheck. Okay. All right. So Chantae, first question. It's real easy. First question is, what got you started in the path of music? How did you do it?
This is always a great opening question, because I've literally been singing since before I started talking. That's what my mom says. My story is kind of interesting, because of course I'm on the Lady Band Director podcast, but I'm not in that discipline. However, that was initially what I was going to school for. So I grew up in the church choir. When I got to elementary school, I sang in the honor choir, and then I got to middle school and I was like, I'd like to sing, but I want to learn how to play an instrument. So I was hoping to do both. I was told that I couldn't do both because, those health and PE requirements. Anyways, so I was made to choose. I almost did orchestra, but my teacher told me I had to cut my nails in order to play cello. And I said, no, I don't want to do that, because I was a girl and I just turned 13. And my mom said, girl, you could get your nails done. And I had just got my nails done. And, they do the instrument testing where we rotate out during recruitment and all that good stuff. And I wanted to play a string instrument, but I was like, oh, I want to keep my nails. So I went to the band room. And my first band director was a woman band director. Shout out to Dr. Elliott. Miss Elliott, excuse me. Miss Elliott. She's like, I ain't got my doctor. I don't need all that. But she actually is band director at a performing arts school in North Carolina now. But she actually set me on the path. And I was blessed to have her, because I think had I had another director, male director, I probably wouldn't necessarily have been set off from the beginning to know that, oh yes, you can do this, because my first band director was a woman, and not many people are able to say that. So I went in there and I had my my instrument playing test. I wanted to play percussion just like everybody else, but they were like, no, we got enough percussionists, let's try you on these instruments. Play the flute. And I actually tried to play on the flute headpiece. I couldn't make a sound at first. I kind of did okay with the clarinet mouthpiece, saxophone mouthpiece. Trombone I did really well on. And then he rolled me back to flute. because they look at your lips and all that stuff. And he was like, I think you'd be good on this instrument. And the second time I did it, I did really well. So from then on, I was the only little chocolate chip in the flute section. But guess where I was in the flute section? First chair. I made sure I had private lessons, and I was with the big dogs. You weren't about to look at me sideways with your little standard stock flute, baby. I had a Gamai heart, open hole, play with your girl. But now I have a Yamaha with a gold armature hole flute. So yeah, I still play. When I got to high school, I played in the wind ensemble, top wind ensemble. I came in as a freshman, first chair, and all of the upperclassmen hated me, and I didn't care because I could play. Get your weight up, friends. And I marched in the marching band. I became drum major of my marching band my sophomore year, and I was drum major for 3 years. We were corps style up until my senior year, and then we transitioned and started hybrid, and we did traditional and corps style marching. So I have knowledge and understanding of both lifestyles. And then after that, I went to school, and I wanted to march at a HBCU in a traditional style band, and I got a full ride to Tennessee State University. Shout out to Dr. Reginald McDonald, who is current director of bands there. And shout out to the Grammy nominated, two-time NAACP Image Award nominated aristocrat of bands. I have to shout out my folks. But I had a lot of buy-in from all of my directors there. I actually sang in high school choir. I took voice lessons in college, which saved me. And then when I graduated, thinking I was going to be the best middle school band director ever, because you can teach if you can start a band. But there were no jobs available for me. I was not a man. I was not from insert school here. And so, yeah. But fortunately, because when you go to Georgia, our degrees are music, PK, P12. So I could technically teach any discipline of music. And so I got a call about opening up a course program at a K-8 academy. And so my very first job was opening a brand new middle school program. And I guess the rest is history.
And that's cool, because a lot of people don't. So like when you really get certified, and this is a discussion I had with my the band director at my school, I'm at a VPA school, so I understand, like, when you get hired as a music educator, your certification is really just music. Most states, like, your certification is not like you get to like it's some type of, like, it says band director. Like, I think a lot of people don't know that, Dr. Pittman, is that it doesn't say band director as much as it's you went to school. You had to take.
Yeah, I had to take string techniques. I had to take brass techniques, woodwind techniques, choral methods. I had to take all of them. And you have to pass and be proficient. Not saying that if I picked up a violin at this point in time that I will remember what the names of the strings are, because I don't teach that discipline. But I had to, and general music methods. You have to be competent. You have to be competent across the board, because for the praxis, you have to be competent across the board. That's a whole nother conversation, and I know y'all touched on that too. Whew, getting certified. But you gotta be able to, because you never know, honestly. And I tell CNAFME students this all the time. I was like, you don't know what your first job gonna be. 9 times out of 10, it's probably not going to be in your discipline. 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to be teaching general music, at least at one point in time in your career. And that's exactly what happened to me. I was hired to teach middle school chorus, but we were at a K-8 school, so they were not satisfied with the schedule that they had, and so they were like, oh, y'all are gonna have to teach some elementary general music classes, even though we had a full-time general music specialist on campus. So they were just trying to basically fill more slots so that the classroom teachers would be able to have content planning time. So, you never know where you're going to land. And honestly, it's better to make sure that you're paying real close attention in those classes so that you can do your job, and not just do your job to get a check, or do your job while you wait for a band position to open. Because if you're in that position and you're in that mindset, you're doing a disservice to the kids that you're currently serving. And so that's thing number one. Don't get a job and then do a disservice to the kids that you're currently serving just because that's not your first choice. Just because it's not your first choice does not mean that it's not the first choice for the kid that's in your seat. So
you done jumped all down my script. which is fine. And I knew you were gonna do it. So it's fine. I'm gonna roll with you, gonna drag me all through my script. You're going to drag me through that playbook. He's like, yep. But no, this is good for people to hear. This is so good for people to hear, because if you're going to go into music, there's a good chance that you may not end up in the type of position you want. A lot of people think they're going to get that high school. No, because that a lot of people squat on high school positions. A lot of people think they're going to jump straight to college because they got a master's degree. No, that don't mean anything. And eventually those school loans, if you got them, they're going to start to call, and they're going to look at, okay, you took voice. We all had to take voice. And well, my program and your program, I don't know. I know all programs aren't created equal, but we all had to take pedagogy classes. We all had to take, my first gig coming out was I taught choir because I play piano. That was my first. I was a 0.5 at 2 schools. One school was band and mostly jazz band in middle school. Guess what? I didn't get to do jazz band in college. Back to that woman thing. I didn't get to be in jazz band. That was not where I was allowed to be at that time. And I taught choir because I needed another 0.5 position. And my piano skills were good enough to be able to do both. And so that's good advice for people who are listening, people who will listen to this podcast, is that you might not get that first choice. You better have some skills. And Black women, I think in particular, we learned that we have to have more skills than everybody. So you dragged me off the cliff with my first question, but you dragged me in a good way, because people need to know that it's not just you go to school and you come out and then the job of your dreams is waiting at your door. You have to be well-versed, and whatever that certificate say, you better be able to do, or fake it till you make it, or get a lot of PDs in.
Figure it out. That's exactly what I did.
So you're an adjunct and you started out, you wanted to be a string student, play flute, still play flute. Do you still play flute?
I still actively play. With choral music, they always have a lot of instrumental needs, a lot of C flute, recorder, flute, of course. And I play all the time for my feeders, and whoever needs it. I'm too busy to be in a big ensemble right now, because I would love to be in some of these community ensembles around here. But I was like, I can't do a rehearsal on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. I need a life.
I like to live. So I
Can't
just
be
do.
spread too thin.
I
Yeah.
can't be spread too thin. I mean, being in music ensembles, community music ensembles is kind of like my release and how I am able to kind of refresh. And so, I can't do too much at one time. But yeah, eventually I would like to get back to playing in the ensemble full time. So we'll see. It have to be the right situation.
And I didn't learn that balance until I was about 10 years into my career. I literally got to a point where I sold all my instruments. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I just felt like they was just sitting there breathing air. And I bought a keyboard because I was playing at church. So I sold them and bought, did that thing where you get like your big cord, because I was like, I need equipment because I play at church. And that was quote unquote my outlet, but I missed it. And I said, I need to go back to playing. And after my son was kind of old enough to kind of, at least sit in front of the TV and like change the channel on his own and eat a bowl of cereal, I went back to playing my instruments. And I missed it so much because I studied, like I wasn't actually a music education major because Morgan, we don't have music education. Everybody pretty much is a performance. It's a state of the Maryland contract they have with the HBCUs to not have a double dipping to actively compete. It's supposed to help, but it doesn't, because what happens is you have to be a double major to be certified. So I graduated with 172 credits. Yeah, that right there.
What was your course load? What was your course load like? Because I know that's already 100,000 1 hour credits.
That's exactly what it is. They're all 1 credit classes, and you in school forever. But I wasn't in school forever. I did it in 5 years, 5.5 years, which is about right, 172 credits.
Honestly, if you would have went to Vanderbilt, you would have graduated with your master's in music education.
Which is why I went straight through. So after that, I said, well, shoot, I'm just gonna go straight through. I'm just gonna get a master. I'm still here. So I rolled right over into the spring. People was like, yeah, you were one in school a long time. I was like, the devil is a liar. No, I wasn't. I was working on my master's, still looking like I was still undergrad. But we have a lot of credits we have to take. But in retrospect, it does turn into a master's 5-year master's program. So if you just go straight through, I was able to get the master's in a year. 1 year.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah, but I took I then enrolled in another master's program at the same time.
Okay, see, I can't. We are glutton. Well, yes, Black women are glutton for punishment, it seems.
We're gluttons for punishment. And that's kind of
it.
That's one of those questions. Do you think we have to, do we have to know more, or is it that we want to be separated from the competition? That's a question I'm gonna ask y'all. Is it really that we need to have way more degrees and we need to have way more skills, or it's that we want to be sure that we're gonna get that job?
We want both. We want to be sure, because if we're not, especially being a marginalized person, I'm a black femme presenting person. Yeah, absolutely. Because I know for a fact that there is situations where I have the same accolades, the same, the same degrees, the same X, Y, Z as the white cis hetero man, and he will get the job, or he will get the initial interview over me. There has been plenty of that's been going on all the way through my my graduate level experiences. I did not have a pleasant time in my doctoral program due to a lot of issues with, microaggressions. I love my school to death, but however, you know, I was quick to make note of those inaccuracies and those inequities. And I let them know, I was like, we got a lot of work to do here if you plan on having students that look like me coming through these halls.
And what's funny is there's still, I get white people not being able to grasp that it's still there. But sometimes my hardest group to say that to and get them to hear it are my Black brothers. And it's always so disheartening because they sometimes sound just like how white people sound to them, but they can't quite see it the same way because, you know, society kind of has glorified being a Black woman so much that it will make you believe, if you don't pull the sheet off of it, that we actually are thriving more than we are.
Why you out here pushing my buttons? You already know.
No, this is my show. No, this is when my show. My show. It's my show, so I can talk the way I want to talk. But I think you're so right, like those microaggressions. And then we get kind of gaslit into believing that that's not really what's happening. Like people say sometimes, like, no, y'all are. Even like people that I know support Black women, I'll say, hey, you do know that we don't make more money than y'all. And they're like, no, y'all make more money. And I was like, let me put it in perspective. Just like they say that Black men aren't present in their children's lives, when really they're like the number one most present. Oh, yeah. Narratives matter. Just like that narrative, what is not being said is we're the number one most educated group making more than you. So let's put the right context on this. We are saying that if I have 3 degrees in this, which you do, I have 3 degrees, but I don't got a doctorate yet. Pray for me. I don't. University of Maryland is across the street, and I took the job.
Let's go. Come on.
I know I took the job because it's across the street, but we don't see the whole narrative. The whole narrative is, if I have 3 degrees and 10 years of experience, and you have 1 degree and 3 years of experience, I should make more money than you. Mm-hmm. And especially at certain things. We should. But instead of us clapping for each other, we tug a war at each other. Like, we don't clap. Me and my husband, we got the saying in our house, whoever got the ball. Like in football, the ball come your way, you catch it, you run, and somebody block. You run. You don't sit there like, wait a minute, I can't run this ball because my husband doesn't have the ball right now. Or vice versa. No, because the Black community, we have to be in the same game together. We gotta stop. We gotta say, you got the ball. I'm gonna be the cheerleader over here. I'm gonna be the water boy over here. And if the ball come my way, same thing. Because what's the point? To win.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. That's a loaded situation, because it's a problem that I'm trying to give you the short version, because I don't want to get on my soapbox. But as Black Americans, we fall so heavily under the Americanized, individualized situation, and that's our issue. But our ancestors come from the communal sense of things. And so for me and my circle, I make sure that as I am climbing, I am lifting. So all this crabs in a barrel mentality, that doesn't exist in my circle. And I refuse, because if there's something that I can't do, if someone asks me, hey, Chantae, do you know someone who could do a presentation? Could you do the presentation? I was like, absolutely not. I have too many things on my schedule. However, I have 1, 2, 3 who could do a great job, a very comparable job for you. Or Do you know somebody who could do this honor choir? And absolutely, I sure do. There's Jasmine Fripp, there's Marie A. Ellis, there is Cody Banks, there is B.E. Boykin. Like, come on now, what you need? Because greatness will find greatness. The cream will always rise to the top, and you know we know each other. And so it's much better to have a familiar circle. But my circle is phenomenal. My circle is ridiculous. I have so many folks in my circle who have their doctorates, they're composers, they're presenters, they're professors, adjunct professors, you know, like across the gamut, and not just, you know, all at the collegiate level, because that's a false narrative too. Just because you at the collegiate level don't mean that that's it. That's not the highest level. That's not the highest pinnacle. You should be an expert in your content, in your field, at every level of music education, because we need good teachers at the elementary level. That's where the foundation is set. We need good teachers at the middle school level. I don't want my fire-ass feeder, excuse my language, to just go off and take a high school job or a collegiate job, and then me be stuck with some teacher who just got out of college who don't know nothing. That messes up our flow. I need you to be fine just like I'm fine. We need experts at every level. Okay?
Every level.
And I'm sorry, but y'all, college level ain't always all what it's cracked up to be. Quiet as kept. Because I've been asked several times, well, when are you gonna go to the collegiate level? When they gonna start paying me 6 figures? Because that's what's I'm not in my pocket, but yeah, a girl get used to having a bag. So if it's gonna take me out of my comfort zone because I like to live a certain life, then no, I'm good. I'm not taking a pay cut.
Bills all the time.
I like trips. I like being able to have money in my bank account, savings. I like paying my car notes, you know, things of that nature. So it's like I see my friends who took the collegiate route, and they're complaining. They're like, these folks don't pay me enough. They doing X, Y, and Z. I can't get the classes I want. They're not giving me money to recruit. They're not giving me money to give out scholarships. What am I going to do? I said, why you got these problems? You at the college level, right? So, okay. Yeah, it's not all it's cracked up to be, and I wish that people would let that go. When somebody get a doctorate, that don't mean they going to college level. That doesn't mean they want to go to college level. I would love that opportunity, but let me retire, catch my one check, the 90% of that check, and then I'll go get that little pittance that they try to give.
Pittance. Listen, so these first of all, these adjunct, like we're both adjuncts. And I posted when I got my position, and someone erroneously almost messed up my daytime bag because they interpreted that as I was leaving my position. I mean, and I had to pull them up. I was like, if you don't shut up. And someone was like, well, you shouldn't have posted. I said, I didn't post that I was leaving. Like, that's not what I said. You assume, you know what they say about assuming. Like, it's like, no, this is in addition to, unless I say I have resigned, I haven't. And like you said, not off no, you know, people don't know we get paid per credit hour. Like those it's not a salary.
Yep.
It's not a salary.
Yep.
It's
not a salary. And they're not paying adjuncts like that. Like literally, it's per class. So I was like, I can do that. It's only one class. That's play money. That job is play money.
Play money.
So
my college band director, Dr. Melvin Miles, said that you probably make more than me. He said this was 10 years ago. He was like, you probably make more than me. And I knew he wasn't lying. I knew he wasn't lying at all, because he's not a liar.
I made I want to say during my finishing up my dissertation, I made about almost 25 to 30,000 more than my dissertation chair.
I believe it. I believe it. Mm-hmm. And I can't thrive off of that. But speaking of college and these director positions, a lot of them, like for the clock hours, let's just talk about them clock hours, sis. Them clock hours are not for that salary. That those clock hours, like I don't need to be seen on a podium that bad. Um, you know, and people kind of say, well, at least it's something. I was like, it's at least it's not gonna it's not I got a son. I want generational wealth. And I'm not saying you gotta make, $200,000 for generational wealth. You just have to be smart with your money. But you have to have enough money to be smart with. So and it's funny when when positions do open up on college level for women, and women we are qualified. It just seems like we get, and I've said this on another show, we get the dumpster fire program. We don't know
to rebuild it.
Yeah, that's that superheroism that is kind of works against us. We don't get offered a established program. We don't get those. We get one that is on life support, and we're expected to have such a little short turnaround to get that choir back together, get that band back together with no resources, no help. Some men still got that I don't want to work under a woman, because that was going to be my next question. This is my next question. So I don't want to work under a woman because this narrative is that she's going to be but then we'll work under a tyrant. That's a man. Like, men can't be tyrants and as leaders. I've seen some tyrants as leaders, and I'm like, what's wrong with you?
Lord, these folks, Lord, girl.
We cutting deep. But I have my next question. How am I gonna say it? All right. You have the questions, but I'm trying to pick which one I'm gonna ask. Is there a difference in the level of support that Black women receive from other Black women versus Black women receiving from Black men? So is there a different level of support, Black women to Black women and Black women to Black men? Because they both have a narrative.
Ooh. Wow. This is loaded.
It is.
I will say, for me personally, in my experience growing in this profession, I received my initial praises about what I was doing from Black men, but that wasn't because that was because there were no Black women, a lot of Black women in my field readily available, if you see what I'm saying. It took a lot of people starting to see that, oh, there are like younger Black women in this field who are doing the darn thing, like, and they know each other. And it started as a small circle, but it's grown, and we have what's comparable to, I think, the Black Women Band Directors Association that was started a few years ago. We have something similar. We're not legit like y'all, but we have our own little network, and it's growing. And we're starting to know each other and know what's around. And so now I clap loudly for my sisters who are doing the dang on thing all across the state, internationally. I was able to meet a college director in Canada. She teaches in Toronto. We said we was going to take a trip and go see her. Like, it's a lot of times it's because of proximity, where, you find that you have your Black peers and Black colleagues clapping, or male colleagues clapping for you. But in reality, the Black women are seeing you, but you're not seeing them because they're not in your immediate circle. You know what I'm saying? And so that's been my experience. But now, I'm seeing everybody. And they seeing me, girl.
You funny. You funny. They gonna see. We see you, sis. That was Jennifer Thelackers and Tiffany Reckley's proposal for NAFME. They did a session called "We See You, Sis," and I was so inspired by that because the organization did allow me to see other women in a region that I just don't travel, or you, if you're a mother like I am, I'm married, like to get on a plane, there's so much logistics I have to work out just to go somewhere, especially when my son was younger. So just the internet has been a marvel that we can connect to people like that. We can connect. I can connect to Dr. Chantae Pittman and see that there's another sister doing craziness like me, and who obviously needs a clone. Because I don't know quite how you do everything you do, and you like, I don't know how you do everything you do. And there is,
I know how I do it because I ain't got no man, I ain't got no kids. It's just me and my dog at the house. So I know how I do it. But I don't know how y'all be doing it. Y'all got full on families, children, they got their own calendar.
It's hard
And
out here.
you doing your own thing, holding it down. I give it up to y'all. I'm just me. I make time because I ain't got nobody at the house except my dog. So we do what we do. we do what we do.
Fair enough. And you know what, dogs they can be like a child anyway. There's a dog in this house.
See why I'm at my school and not my office at my house.
You said
your would have been like
dog child would have been having a fit.
No, we wouldn't have started this thing until dang near 9:45. Man, we got to go on a walk. So,
but it's interesting you say, like, we do see each other more now. We have social media, and social media gets a bad rap because I really don't like this narrative that is like people trying to be around somebody. Like, it's stupid. It's stupid because what's the difference between networking and just trying to be seen? Because there's no line of demarcation, really. Like, and it's such, the narrative behind it doesn't make sense, because if I am a music professional and I want to be a better music professional, I need to hang around music professionals and a diverse group of music professionals, not just Black people, but white people too. Not just people who teach in this type of district, but people teach, because one, you never know what you'll learn from them. A lot of times, we go to these conferences, the best PD is at the bar, they say, sitting next to somebody
at the lunch,
at the bar. And I think it's such a, back to the support question, we're not being supportive if we aren't talking to each other. I'd rather go to a conference and try to meet everybody who looks like me than what happened to me when I went to Midwest. I sat at a table. I was able to drag my husband out the house finally. He saw that there was some stuff for him to do too. He started signing up for sessions. I was like, oh Lord, this man is in some session. Where you at? Oh, I'm in this session with so-and-so. On jazz trombone. I said, yeah, you don't have to be an educator to be here. You're a musician. Go sit in a session. And he did. But we sat at a table, and there's another sister at the table. And she was with a certain demographic, and she didn't even there was never a, hey, how you doing? Like, it was like, we exist in this space together. This is a perfect time.
Perfect time to reach out. Yeah.
So I take any day somebody saying, why is she always in a picture with somebody else, than to be that person at the table that won't talk to people who look like me, that won't say hi, that won't do. It just doesn't make sense. So Black men, I will say this, I do find that I get initially I thought I had a lot more support from Black men, but then just taking the kind of the glasses off, there's a lot of Black women rooting in my corner with me, beside me, around me. Up here, I'm blessed that the Black women, or the women in general, run band up here. Like in the district so it was very strange to me to kind of hear, but we're not technically the South. We're in the South, but we're not the South. It's very strange to me for me to see like some of the things I see sometimes in different regions. I'm like, they don't do that to us up here like that. Like it really, I kind of felt like I was in a vacuum. But when I started networking in other regions, I was like, oh man, y'all still here? But I live in progressive Maryland. Maryland's progressive. Look who we elect. We're not like everywhere else.
Man, I was like, Georgia. What?
Oh, Georgia on my mind, Lord help us.
Bless it. We so close. Jesus.
Y'all was so close. We were rooting for y'all.
We was rooting for us too, both times. Both times.
We were rooting. And then we turn around and elect like minorities. Like they're like, how did they get the?
I was watching y'all's election too close. I said, look at that Black excellence there. Come on. But yeah,
I like our food, but I ain't going down there. I'll eat. I'll visit.
If it wasn't so cold up there, honey, I would have been gone.
Look, man, it ain't even that cold. We don't even get snow anymore up here. There ain't no ozone layer, sis. We don't even get snow anymore.
Climate change is real around these streets. So.
we don't have no ozone. They ain't telling us. We all cooking. Don't laugh at me, sis. So Black women do support Black women. Now, let's not get this twisted as all Black women don't support all Black women, just like all Black men don't support all Black men. Yeah. And if they don't support you, you don't have to make it happen. Like we're not that divided that I tell somebody, never invite somebody in your space that's just toxic. Like there's somebody positive down the street, and it knows no gender. It knows no gender. It knows no color. Sometimes people are just shit. Yeah. and if they are, the collective, the kinfolk collective who know who they are, and we just all right, okay.
They don't pass the vibes check. I don't deal with people who are constantly negative. I might love you dearly, but when everything you post is woe is me, oh my goodness, what am I gonna do every day? I can't do that. Because first of all, social media is what you create. So if you got craziness on your timeline, guess what? You can delete it. You can mute it. You can get rid of it. Like, I'm not about to be on my phone, and you're not about to be on my phone that I pay for every month.
Not on my phone, but
causing me trouble. Internet. No, absolutely not. You're not about to text me. You're not about to call me. No, I don't want to see your post. It's fine. And the thing is, it's nothing. There's no beef there. You know what I'm saying? I just don't want you in my circle. Like it's no beef. I mean, if I see you in the street, I'm gonna say, hey, depending on exactly who you are, because some people I'm just gonna ignore like they don't exist. But that's a whole nother discussion that we can take offline. But but it's like, people have to stop being so sensitive about social media, because a lot of people overinflate their actual relationship to those people. Like, especially when Facebook became open to everybody and you didn't have to have a college email anymore, it didn't become friends.
Why you say you have to have the college email? Back when
girl, I'm coming up on 20 years on Facebook. So come on now. Come on.
Say that. Stop, sis. Don't say the stuff out loud. My hair is blonde, so you can't see gray. That's a story. I'm sticking to it.
Look, my gray hairs be popping out my braids. And I be like, what is this?
Now they attacking my eyebrows. I'm like, this is ghetto. This is ghetto. Look, people don't know how old I am until them eyebrows look like I done dipped myself in some flour. But next question. Do you think being classically trained is still not quite understood in our community?
Absolutely. Because
And what that means.
the title of classically trained is not appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
And when you put that label on that, it kind of it puts us in a box. I was trained in multiple styles as an instrumental performer and as a vocal performer. And that makes me diverse, that makes me multifaceted, and it makes me be able to shift into different things as what's needed. I'm able to get hired doing different things because I'm able to play and I'm able to improvise on my instrument. You know what I'm saying? I'm able to play R&B on my instrument. I'm able to play those marches. I'm able to play those ballads. You know, I'm not stuck in one set. And a lot of people don't understand, you know, there's a difference between the genre of classical music and the style and time period of classical music. And that's always been a thing. That was a thing that I didn't even learn until really I got into college in music history. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh,
that's what they mean.
So that's what they mean. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so because there's not a clear education of this, and because everyone's collegiate experience in music education is different, you know, they think, oh, she was classically trained in flute. All she can play is those Bach cantatas and things of that nature. I was like, unfortunately, you have a misconception, because I definitely played a jazz piece on my program. I definitely played a piece from the contemporary era, the Romantic period, the Baroque period. I had a Renaissance piece. Like we tripped and traced all across the musical time period because that's what we had to do. And as a vocal musician, the same thing. That's what we had to do. I learned and sung in multiple different languages, multiple different styles, because that makes you better. You should never be stuck to one single style. That puts you in a box. That puts you in that pigeonhole.
And I'm glad you said that part, stuck in a box, because as educators, and we both, if we only teach one style and our student grows up, wants to be a musician, they are only going to be limited to the jobs that require that style. Every gig I ever got, they need a musician. Like, I've never gotten a gig just solely off of one side. Not a good paying one. I'm gonna be real. Not a really good paying gig. The best paying gigs are the ones where they know they can throw anything at you except for the wall, and you can thrive in it. And how are we going to really have musicians that look like us in all spaces if they only know one corner of the room? Like, so I'm glad you said classically trained is not necessarily classical. It's not pandering after being white, but it's also not forgetting that there's other cultures and diverse music that you can actually enjoy. And you don't have to enjoy one more than the other either.
I listen to everything, and I tell my kids that all the time. And that just makes you more relatable. Like, you would be surprised what the kids know of music, and then they are always surprised about what you know and what you listen to. And I never shut my ears off to different musics. And when I tell people I like country music, they look at me like I'm crazy, and I just be like, "That's some of the best songwriting." Like,
them
what?
stories, that storytelling.
That's some of the best songwriting. And guess what? Guess who created that? Black folks. And they completely
That
are
right there.
demystified. Baby, black folks, all that. Black folks. What
Black
style?
folks.
That American style, Black folks.
Black folks.
All of them. All of the American music genres that we have today because of
The
Black
original march style. Black folk. They're like, no, marches are white. No, not the Ottoman Empire. What do we? Do you know what that is? You don't know your history. It's okay. You don't know history. They don't want us to know our
jazz.
history.
But why? But let I got to go back and shout out my folks again. Let's shout out to the TSU collegians, jazz collegians. I am a jazz collegian alumni. What the first HBCU band to perform, jazz band to perform at Midwest.
All right, see, why'd you go there? That thing was
on fire, and then lit it on fire. First of all, why? Why did it take? Stupid. How many years has that conference been going on?
Oh Lord, we about to.
Jazz music existed. Come on, don't let me bring out my book.
Midwest Part 2, because you know we talked about that Midwest and how, oh boy, Midwest Part 2. Why are we still having first? Why are we still having first? Why can't we still count the amount of Black women on any collegiate level, HBCU and PWI? We can count the sisters on one hand. One hand, just one, not two, maybe five.
I can count multiple palm people at these schools. At HBCUs, I can count multiple palm people. And I know what palm people mean.
We know what palm people, and we're not talking about Sunday. Oh.
I can't deal with you, Sim. I can't deal with you, girl. But yeah, folks don't be trying to talk to me, honey, because I go deep on them, because when I tell you 2020, when I was sitting at home, because didn't nobody know what to do when we got sent home on March 13th, honey, baby, I got in them books, and a lot of stuff just opened up outside of the world of music, the realm of music education. But all of that stuff relates to each other, and I started to do a lot of introspect thinking, and realize that all of that stuff connects. And how we exist as Black Americans was ingrained in us because of racism and slavery trauma. And I was just like, wow. And then now everything, I see all of that stuff, and I'm just like, wow. It really sucks how messed up racism has done for us as a society.
We're still here. Yeah, we're still in trauma response. We're still in trauma response. And
flight.
Yeah, we're still in trauma response, and educators, we get trained in trauma-informed pedagogy. I'm doing clinic on the pedagogy of the oppressed is my topic next week with Tammy Sue Yee and Camille Delaney on our panel, because it really does affect how we navigate this profession. And that leads me to, I got about two questions left. Are Black women in our own way of being successful?
Do you want to just generally, in my opinion,
it's your opinion. In your opinion, are we in our own way?
Collectively, no. In my opinion, collectively, no. But the issue of, like I said, going back to what I said about Americanized individualism, and the champion of the being, I'm going to be this, and I, me, instead of we, us, them, they, it's not a community. And if we could, as not even just as Black women, but if we as Black people could be more communal, and not, it's all about me, we would be a lot farther along. We would be much farther along. And so, you know, that could affect things too. So, you know, we do our part, but then there's outside influences that come in and destroy. And so, you know, after you've gotten destroyed several times, like people don't realize that Black Wall Street, after that riot, it came back. And then they came and they did it again.
And they did it again. Yeah.
And they're like, Black people can't do nothing. Black people do this, they do that. I was like, do you realize that there's an outside force outside of us who, when they realize, oh, the Black people over there, they got their own stores, their own banks, their own schools, they teachers, they lawyers, they doctors, they doing good over there. They own all that land. Let me decide to put a let's decide to put an expressway straight through the city. Let's now use the expressway to divide the town into the white suburbs and the inner city. Come talk about it. Y'all better go read color law. Open your eyes, chairman.
Read the history of why we respond the way we respond. And a lot of it is fear mongering that has kept us from thriving. You know, I have Southern grandparents, but my family is from the South. My grandfather was Creole. So I guess that's where the little engine look come from.
We love the Great Migration, honey. We love the Great Migration.
But
all of our cousins up there.
Yeah, because we still know how to cook. People like, y'all can cook. I was like, yeah, I can cook. Completely down. But that's where we get these mentalities where just worry about yourself. You know, I'm just gonna worry about me. I ain't gonna look over there. I'm not gonna look on their side of the fence. Not even a good way. And it also affects us in a negative way where we think somebody's in our way.
Yeah.
Like we think if so-and-so gets a job, they're in our way. If Chantae gets the position that I wanted, Chantae is in my way. Chantae isn't in my way. Chantae is paving the way, because if Chantae do it right, then more people are going to be inclined to open those doors if Chantae does it right. What I got to do is make sure Chantae does it right and help her do it right. Any means necessary. If Chantae needs, hey sis, can you look at this real quick? Yeah. It's like music educators. Something we got really good at during the pandemic was calling each other and reaching out to each other in social media for help. I got an open door policy with my inbox, and not for all the wrong reasons or even a rumor of why it's open. It's open, like, and I never talk about how many band directors I talk to on the way to work if I'm not live, or during my first period or during my planning period or after work, like hit screenshot music. Sis, what's this? Wait a minute. Let me get home. My music binder, my clarinet repertoire is up. Just give me a second. I'll send you a video. I know. And what's the point of outing what somebody else doesn't know if they asked you?
If they ask, right.
If they ask, they want to know. Just the same. Listen, sis, my conducting isn't always very expressive. I know vocalists got it on lock with phrasing. What I look like, not asking somebody who's better at it than me. What I look like. So, you know.
There's a lot of things that I wish that more people would realize. I know this because I've been in both worlds, but my band brain helped me tremendously as a choral teacher. Teaching sight reading, it is a skill, as sight singing is a skill. And the same methodical way that we do it as instrumentalists, that same methodical process I had to give to my students in order for them to understand it. Because we don't have keys to press down on our throat. We have to hear that sound. We have to see the symbol, understand the intervallic relations, and hear it in our ear off of one pitch. My kids weren't gonna be able to do that off of nothing. They have to be trained. There is levels to everything, and my band brain helped me piece together
And
a
your band better
system and a
sing.
skill.
Your
Huh?
band better sing. Your band, if you
You
want
better
your
sing.
ears to tune well, they better be able to look at that part and at least la la loo it. I teach AP theory. These children are about to hate me. They about to be sick of me.
You can sing it, you can play it, honey.
Yeah, because I have to get them ready for. I have to get them for in a VPA program. It's not so much about who's the ensemble director is much as who are we getting all these skills collectively. There's 8 music teachers on my staff. 8. Any of us could go in anybody's classroom, any one of our classrooms, and run that classroom. There right now, our orchestra teacher is a band director. You think that he doesn't know how to pick repertoire for strings and phrasing? The band director has covered the other band directors covered orchestra. I've covered the band, both level band classes and jazz band, and still on the podium, the information is going to be the same.
On the podium, it's the same. And you know, one school that I really highly laud, of course, the establisher of the Midwest Conference, of course, the Vandercook College of Music, the only school for music education by itself. That's it. That's the only major in the world, you know. So their policy as grad students, they have a 3 summers program. When you are doing your residency, you have to sign up for the university course, regardless of discipline. So you have band people, you have string people, and you have choir people. In the big choir, everybody's singing. Everybody's learning to sight read or practicing sight reading. Everybody's learning how to see the score. You know, everybody's getting that exposure because what? They might need to. They might have to. They might be teaching general music. They might have a 4th and 5th grade honor course, and they have to do those students justice. And so it's like sometimes I wish that, you know, fine arts administrators would do PDs on having a quality course catalog, a quality how this matriculation process at college works, how our music educators come out. How does that streamline? How do we do that? How do we make sure that our students are getting
they would have more people who would stay longer in the profession, would be more successful in the profession. When they have to take their performing ensemble somewhere, they would know how to get them from point A to point B successively.
They need to talk to each other. They're not, they talk about us saying we're not an island, we're not a monolith, we're not an island. They need to be doing the same thing. These deans of music schools, these department chairs, they need to be doing these PDs too. I don't know if they had it on a little conference or whatever, but they should be at these music conferences presenting, talk about why we got 30, 50 music majors graduating every year. Because I know us in Georgia, the HBCUs, baby, we barely got music ed at our HBCUs in Georgia. And that's an issue.
That's an issue across the board. It's an issue across the board. And then we have educators who can't get certified. And I know we both know that there is issue with the teacher certification exams for people of color. But I would be a pissed off person if I spent this much money, if I marched until my knees were dragging down my leg, if I did all of this, spent all these clock hours, and I could not pass. That's like if a lawyer, let's put it in perspective to something that people respect, because you know they don't respect music. That's like a lawyer going to school and doing all of that and can't pass the bar. Doing all of those case studies, studying all of these laws and on the books, spending all that money. That's like a doctor finishing medical school and can't pass exams, can't get a residency.
Yeah.
Can't get a residency because that's the equivalent. And I don't understand why people are so like the test. No, the test doesn't live, breathe, and speak. The people who are around you, living, breathing, and speaking, what are they saying to you? What are they teaching you or not teaching you that you can't pass it? That a Dr. Tamisha Brock
I was gonna say it. I was gonna say
has a booming business in it. Booming business. I took the test once. I took it once. There was no, I couldn't pass the ear part, and now some states you don't have to take, there's the content and then there's the kind of like the performance that I call it ear training, but it's not, like the ensemble application portion. Some places you don't even have to take that anymore. So you mean to tell me you can't pass the theory and the history? That mean, what was y'all doing? What was they telling you or not telling you that you can't pass the theory? Our curriculum needs to be restructured at some of our HBCUs. Because the test isn't going completely away. And if it does, this is the scary part. Yes, some people are getting hired without it. But I always say, you're not going to make what I make. And that's not being pompous. That's me saying they are lowballing you deliberately because you don't have all the certifications. They don't have, so they take the test away and you're rejoicing. I never rejoice when I see something rolled back.
Yep.
That's like school loans. They rolled them back, right? Eggs are $9. They always get their money out of us some kind of way. They rolled it back. Oh man, we saving. And if you add up the inflation, you'll find out that you're still giving it right on back. You're giving it right on back. And you don't even know it because you still gotta have your eggs and bacon in the morning. We could tabernacle all day, sis. On that Theisen, I just want to say the one thing that SAI taught me, child, is how to sing a part. Sing a part.
Sing a part. Hold a part.
Hold your part. Yeah, they ain't no discrimination if you in band in SAI. You gonna have to sing them songs, and you better be on pitch because your choir sisters will get you. And I went to
you sure did.
The national
singing heifers right there. Come on, shout out to my Kappa chapter, okay? My lovely sisters at Morgan State. Love them so much.
Man, I kid you not. So something funny, the Symphonians, the band brothers literally took over a choir rehearsal and sung Magnificat. And Dr. Carter was like, the band brothers are in here killing y'all. Because in marching band, you singing. So I don't know. We're not all that different. I know a lot of people like, why you got someone up here who's a vocalist? Well, because we are not that different.
Because I'm an instrumentalist. I'm a musician. Let's talk about it.
Let me tell you how I attended up that 4-part chorale singing.
That 4-part chorale bumped. I'm sorry, but it bumped better than the original. Quiet as kept.
You ain't got to tell me twice. I will sing that low F sharp. I will lay on it.
And then be looking crazy when my Zeta sister be singing our hymn. I'll be like, "Ooh, Lord Jesus!"
Oh no! Oh, God bless. God bless.
It ain't my singing sisters, Lord, but God bless them and they hymns. Let me run their song rehearsal real quick.
They sing it from their hearts, their purest, pure little hearts. But it's been an hour and a half. You've had a long day.
Girl,
I've
it's
had
the
a long
weekend,
day.
girl. We about to turn up. We about to turn up in the bed, girl. In the bed.
Damn, girl. I'm turning the
In the
alarms
bed.
off. But
In the bed. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
still here actually because we're actually doing our musical. I had to miss the musical tonight because I had to go judge because I'm required to go judge. So they're actually doing their cast party right now for like 27 more minutes. So we're blessed
so
to
you're
be here.
still on the clock. Why?
Technically, yes. Yes, technically, but I told them I had some other things to do today. We are blessed to have two wonderful, capable theater teachers, and they are doing the darn thing.
When you got a good team, trust it.
When you got a good team, yeah, you do your thing. You do your thing, Pitt. We got you. You know, I'm thankful for them. I'm thankful for where I am. I'm blessed for where I am. You know, people talk about, you know, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I know you was trying to shame me earlier about my bio, but you should know that, you know, a lot of these presentations they have a word requirement, you know. So I had to start paring things down. And you know, I hate first of all, I hate typing and talking about myself. And so, you know, when I realized, I was like, I'm looking at my CV, I'm like, dang, I done presented like 15 presentations over the span of the last 6 years. And you know, I'm in different states, and I just had my first out of state honor choir clinician job. You know, I'm about to have another one next year. You know, they don't realize that these things are happening. But you got to pare that stuff down. They be like, well, we ain't got 1,000 words for you. We only got 150.
They sent mine back. They sent mine back a couple times, but it's okay, one, to look at what you've accomplished, because it does help motivate you. It's not so much as to brag about yourself or to make someone else look bad, but sometimes you got to keep yourself encouraged that you actually are moving forward, because you'll look up and feel like you haven't done anything in this world, and people are quick to make you feel like you haven't done anything. You know, if you're not gonna clap for you, who else is? That's what I say.
Tell them,
not gonna clap for you. So, my last question: any advice to Black women educators in general, especially coming out of the pandemic, and you know these babies are a little different. Oh God,
more than a little different, honey. But that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. But this is what I would say to my Black women in music education, both old, mid-career, not old, but seasoned, excuse me, ladies, both seasoned, mid-career, early career, pre-service teachers. I have 3 things that I would say. I think 3 things, maybe more, it depends. But first and foremost, have a mentor. This mentor does not necessarily have to be older than you. This person could be someone who is younger than you, because you don't know everything, even at your age or in your stage of your career. Always have someone younger than you, because they have a different perspective than you, and they have new, fresher ideas, because they just came out of that methods class, whereas you ain't been in your methods class in what, 10, 20, 30 years, you know? So have mentors in both directions, and have that be a reciprocal situation. 2, if you can, join a musical ensemble, community ensemble, professional ensemble. If you have the time and you have the ability to do it, because that is going to be a stress reliever for you. That is going to help clear your ears. And if you have a good clinician, that will also be a weekly, daily, maybe PD, because you can learn so much from the person who's on the podium when you're back in the seat. Learn what to do, what not to do. Learn what music to program, what music you can program for your kids. And just know, and it's always it's a reset, you know. Listen in the beginning, band students all the time. I can only listen to Hot Cross Bun so many times. I need to play festival variations, okay? I need to wail on that piccolo part one good time, okay? So I need to remember that I am a musician first. I am an educator second. And lastly, the only way that people are going to know who you are, know what you do, and can validate, because that's what happens. You get validated for what you're doing, and they see the success of your program, is if you put your stuff and you put yourself out there in a positive light. If you don't tell your story, someone else will tell it for you. You need to be in control of your narrative. You also need to be networking and getting out there. These conferences that you see people at, you be like, why is she always at a conference? Because that's how I got to meet X, Y, and Z. Insert famous composer here. Insert famous professor here. Because I did not stay in my silo. I got out there. I asked questions. I networked. I sat at the table and I spoke to another person who looked like me, you know? And that's why I'm so thankful of the organizations that I'm in, because baby, when I tell you the American Choral Directors Association that's about to pop off in Cincinnati, Ohio in a couple weeks, baby, when I tell you that's about to be the Black Mecca, the Black Choral Directors Association about to come with it, and you know we're gonna be suited and booted. I'm so ready.
She said we're gonna be suited and booted. Yes, Lord.
We do.
We're gonna show out.
These conferences.
Oh, we gonna look the part. We gonna look the part.
Look the part, honey. Gonna have to check a bag or two, you know. But you know, those are the three things that really have carried me as a Black female music educator, because without those things, I would have been burnt out. I would not be successful in what I do, because I was not originally supposed to be in choral music education. But this is what God said, and I listened to God, and God has provided tenfold for me. And in my life at this point in time, I'm continuing to maintain and starting to set new goals for myself, because I really didn't plan past my doctorate. To be honest, I did not plan it.
You just was like, I made it.
My doctorate. I made it. I made my decision to get my doctorate when I was 15 years old.
Hughes organ.
And I said, this is it. This is what I want. I want to be a doctor, but I don't want to be a medical doctor. So I was like, what can I do? And so, you know, it was either perform, conduct, or teach babies. So I was like, I can do all of that with a music ed degree. So let me do that, and I can still teach. So yeah, I didn't make it by 30. I made it by 33, but that's okay. I'll take it.
You doing better than me. I ain't gonna say how old I am. I ain't gonna say that.
But you know, now I'm starting to set new goals professionally for myself. Setting new personal goals for myself. You know, we in week 7 of the gym game, girl. Week 7.
Oh, you doing good, sis?
I am.
Doing good.
I feel better, and you know, I feel better. And you know, a fourth thing I'll say is make time for you.
Make time for yourself. Listen here, I'm gonna write that in the chat.
Make time for you. You're not just the teacher. You're not just the musician. You're not just the wife. You're not just the mama. You are you. And you have to make some sort of time for you. Even if it's like me now, I wake up at 6 o'clock and I meditate and I journal. And ever since I implemented that, I have felt so much peace and calm, and I'm so much better prepared to take on the day. And it's just that moment that I have to myself, because, you know, once we are on, it's so hard for us to turn off. It's so hard for us to turn off. So
I will be at the gym early in the morning. I
do
do it.
I be seeing you, girl.
And y'all gonna get this 6-pack, because I need to see it to believe that it's gonna happen. So y'all gonna get this 6-pack.
I be looking for.
And you ain't gonna body shame me if you ain't body shaming Beyonce, who's married too. Please, if my husband like it, I love it. That little
plate on that. I can pass the plate.
You like it? I
pass
love
the
it.
plate around. Yeah.
You know where you get the come home too. I come back from the gym. I'll be like, all right. All right. We sound like aunties.
I mean, I am TT Tay to my nephew Aiden and all my internet social media babies. Hey,
And we got students, and our students see us like we their mother, aunt, grandma, school
Right.
counselor,
I've been holding off on
corrections
the auntie
officer.
status. I've been holding off on the auntie status with my kids for a long time. I was like, you know what? I'm at that age where I could possibly. No, I'm not. I'm not possibly that old yet. But I can be your cousin. I can be your big
She
sister.
said I can be your cousin. I ain't your aunt.
I ain't so aunt yet. I got another 5 more years before I get into auntie status for real, for real. In my eyes,
I'm there. I'm way over there. There's there, and then I'm
so
way
funny.
over there. I'm way
over there. Get out.
I'm way over there. I'm
Well,
turning 42, and
girl, that's young. What you talking about?
I'm turning 42 in 10 days. 10 days, I'll be 42.
That's
42.
young.
Yeah.
Young.
Not to my knees. Not to my knees.
Girl, at 34, my knees is toe up too because somebody decided they wanted to march for 8 years.
Jesus Christ. My knees just hurt when you said the number out loud. On that note,
4 of them it was core style, so I was just roll stepping. But the other 4 years when I was shoulder popping and gushing on the field.
Jesus Christ. And y'all, I'm about to shame your flutes. Y'all spicy. Y'all know y'all spicy.
Oh yes, baby.
Y'all know
yes.
y'all.
We been getting it.
Don't
Get it with the piccolos, honey. Yes,
y'all
we got them little
spicy.
babies. We got time. Stripper kicks and all, honey.
Okay.
Stripper kicks and all. It look. I had fun.
Flute players are a mess. Y'all are a mess on the field. I'm a complete mess. But y'all bring so much energy, and you brought so much energy to my podcast. So I'm glad.
Overdue.
I'm glad. Yeah, you better. Like, don't listen. Don't tempt me. You better. But thank you for sharing insight, and you gave us some good tips. And I put them in the chat. People can go back and read the chat when they watch it. A lot of people told me they watch stuff on their way home, and all these things. I'm gonna do a curriculum show where we're gonna talk about curriculum and scope and sequence. I think I'm gonna call it out of scope and out of sequence.
I see what you're doing there, girl. I see.
So just get ready to be on that one, because we curriculum nerds. But it needs to be talked about. Yeah, Edwin Moore in the chat, he just kind of reminded me that we need to talk about curriculum on one of these shows.
It's important, especially if you fall into the management situation where you're like a department chair or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, making sure your kids is graduating so they don't get pulled out of your class as a senior because they forgot to take their core class, their math class, their foreign language. But that's
just class or go to class. But we gotta go because Jay the man, I gotta give him a round of applause because he's been under weather. God bless him. He is spending his time on a Friday evening. So one of his sisters, back to Black men do support Black women and vice versa. Because it started out with me watching his show and being like, them some dope brothers. I gotta watch this every Wednesday because they was just so dope. Yeah. So this is how we make the world better. You have made my world better, and hopefully the viewers that have watched, if you are in the chat, hit the like button. Push it now. 8 people watching, 8 people hit like. I think y'all all have hit like tonight. That's all I gotta say. I love you, sis. We will chat offline over mimosas because we need to chat offline sooner than later, sis. All right.
Absolutely.
Love you. And thank y'all for being with me. Diary of a Lady Band Director. Good night.